I'm Chronix, and this is Crystal from the most extreme wrestling, and this is your Raw review for September 9th, 2013.
Day after my birthday!
All the way from Canada. This is like the anniversary of the Dreamcast. Oh.
Day after my birthday is much more interesting and important.
Well, if you say so.
I do say so.
What is important about this particular day in 2013 is it was the host of such a great Raw. Such a good Raw. Stuff that was awesomeness. We had
Raw.
Edge coming out.
Yes.
That was awesome.
Still can't get used to him with short hair.
True.
But it was cool that he came out.
And Goldust was announced on Twitter by Brad Maddox that he was going to be having a match with Randy Orton later in the match. So
that was exciting.
Two guys from the Attitude Era coming back, introducing good things back into the show. So I was super excited about that because I'm a huge Edge fan and a very huge
Goldust. Because you do that all the time.
I do. I love them. And so they were back. Okay. So Edge kicks off this with his own little show. He comes out there with his smoke entrance and everything, right?
Yes.
He even gets introduced by Tony freaking Chimmel. And he says, Rated R, Superstar, Edge. You know, like he used to do on SmackDown. So I was all excited about that because he did that specially for Edge himself. Alright, so he's doing the cutting edge, and I was like, oh, in your face, Miz. How can you say that your Miz TV is so great and better than the cutting edge when you don't even get to do it no more?
That's true.
And you get replaced. See, I thought it was going to be lame. I thought it was going to be Miz TV, the Miz hosting Edge, but nah, that didn't even happen. No Miz TV at all. The cutting edge was like putting like the edge of that blade, suffocating the Miz, and slicing it in half with that blade. Miz TV, done. We can only dream. But tonight, it was done for, and we had the cutting edge, and Edge is out there talking about Triple H brought him in because, you know, it was good for business or whatever, and he's not going to interview. You know, you do interviews on the cutting edge, right?
Yes.
And he's not going to interview Randy Orton. Why?
Why?
Because he's boring.
Who would have thought?
No, he can't say that because that's not true, because we all love Randy Orton. Well, apparently a lot of people really like Orton.
I thought this dude was boring since the first time I ever saw him.
Well, I don't know about all that now. But he would rather do Daniel Bryan in the interview because the dude is much more entertaining and interesting, and the crowd seems to think so too with their chanting and yesing and things of that nature.
Yes.
So Randy Orton comes out and says two things. He says Canada basically sucks, and that you should be ashamed of your body getting screwed up at a young age or something.
What?
So, yeah. I guess because he got injured.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, so...
Because Randy Orton's not going to sustain an injury.
Well, he doesn't have a disabilitating...
Well, I mean, I guess that's true. It's hard to sustain an injury when you don't do anything.
Well, and then Edge, man. He starts talking about Orton. He starts talking about body parts. And he says that, you know, basically that Orton is a prick and that, yes, his spine is messed up, but he can think of a much better body part to describe, you know, Randy Orton over there, right? And that Triple H...
I don't know what that body part could be.
I don't know.
Could you break that down for us, Chronix?
Well, this seems to be a setting up that will actually happen a little bit later. So it's kind of a big arching thing that could never have been possibly missed by any censor employed in the universe. Not possible.
It's true.
Alright, so he talks about Triple H has picked a lot of bad talent in the past or whatever, this is what Edge says. He said a lot of guys were going to be big and then they were nothing. Probably like Sin Cara, but let's not mention that because Triple H likes to break kayfabe or whatever, but he won't go that far. You know what I mean? You know, he won't go that far. He'll call people by their names and whatever at every possible second. But he'd never, you know, do that. But anyways, Triple H comes out and he says, oh yeah, well, you know, I said this, or, you know, they were talking about like Cena couldn't make it and Edge couldn't make it in Y2J, that's what Edge said and everything. But Triple H he's picked good talents and everything. And he says, let me do this for you, Edge. I know why you came out here. You came out here to plug your TV show Haven and let everybody know that it's on at this particular time, at this particular moment, and all that. So that was actually good points for Triple H in the way they booked that.
Because it wasn't so obvious.
Yes,
and terrible.
And you didn't have to have Edge doing it, and you could have the heel do the promoting.
It was perfect.
So it was funny, and it worked. And
That's
Triple H
awesome.
keeps talking about being proven wrong, and, you know, he's been proven wrong, or prove me wrong and stuff, and I was like, Triple H must have invented that catchphrase, I mean, knowing WWE and their logic. But anyways, Triple H predicted Edge would be a failure, and you know what? He was right, according to Triple H, because his career didn't last so long or whatever, and I don't know. But Edge, bringing back to the point earlier talking about body parts, Triple H says that he is not a dictator. And I thought that this was all laid out on the table, pre-planned. Everybody should have saw this coming a million miles away. I know I did. He says, and then Edge retorts by saying, "You may not be a dictator, but you're a real..." And they didn't censor it. Really? How? They didn't even do a late censor. It wasn't like he said it and then it was like beep or silence. No, he just said it.
They just decided they were going to say it. I think you can say that on PG-13.
No, it's PG. You can't say that on PG-13 TV, I don't think.
I think you can.
Well, you definitely can't say it on PG.
You can't say it on PG.
So they just no-sold it?
So technically it could just be a guy's first name. You know.
That's a stretch.
You know, just saying.
That's a stretch.
He could have got confused about what his first name was.
Like his name was Dick Tater. Like Tomater. But it's Dictator.
Yeah.
And I could actually see that happening on a Disney movie in some way. But Triple H says, "I can hurt your loved ones," and he brings out a battered and beaten Christian. Now, this is pointed out to me on Facebook, and it's absolutely true. I think they were talking about how Christian was injured and he was hurt and everything.
Okay.
But when they brought him out battered and beaten, he was wearing his ring gear. So if he was not cleared to compete, I mean, maybe if he came out,
he'd be wearing it.
Maybe if Christian came out in regular pants, we wouldn't recognize him. It's a possibility.
Come on.
I mean, I think that WWE thinks that people are stupid, like, for real.
Maybe. I would recognize Christian. Like, he's one of the few people I would probably recognize, like, in an airport or something.
Because he's got one strange-looking face.
I don't think it's strange-looking.
He looks like... what is that guy's name? He's the villain on Star Trek Generations.
I didn't see Star Trek Generations.
He's the guy that was on Tank Girl.
You told me it sucked.
He was on Tank Girl.
Okay, I've seen Tank Girl.
Michael McSomething. I don't know. He's the guy with the white hair, short, and he has the accent, the deep accent.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that guy.
I don't think I've seen the movie.
You should look it up. Star Trek Generations. He's the guy in the Nexus, not to be confused with the Nexus.
I'm gonna go check out the back of the movie.
I meant on your phone, but okay, it's okay.
I don't even know why I did that.
Okay,
that was a really weird thing to do.
Kofi Kingston takes on Curtis Axel. And Curtis Axel wins with the dreaded countout, I guess, but it was a DQ countout. Or was it even a countout? They were in the ring, and I think he kept doing like the beat down in the corner, and you go to 5 or whatever. He didn't have until 5, or he did have until 5, but he went over that, whatever. Curtis Axel, the Intercontinental Champion, he does not win, and Kofi wins, so good for him. I guess at some point the dude will become champion, and Curtis Axel will be important at some time somewhere for some odd reason that no one knows about.
Malcolm McDowell. Oh, he's the one. He's on Get Smart. You should have said that.
Well, okay, that's what Christian's face reminds me of. This
dude is like 100 years old.
As we move on, Goldust has a video package, which I say thumbs up. I hope, Goldust, you get your revenge on Randy Orton for throwing you into that electrical panel that electrocuted you and made you go, ooh, 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 all the time. You remember that? Of course you do. Now Paul Heyman limps around because, like, during that Curtis Axel match, he got hit or something. So all of a sudden, he feels like he's so injured he can't wrestle at the pay-per-view coming up this weekend called Night of Champions. Where all the champions will be on the line, well, except for maybe Curtis Axel. Not too sure.
Can't stop yawning.
Booker T, he testifies to the Big Show. and he inspires the Big Show. Well, not so much. But the Big Show is all whiny, you know. He's very sad. He's got tears. He really looks like he should be, like, on a low testosterone commercial about supplementing natural testosterone. Because he's always like...
It's a really weird place to take that.
Like, I'm really sad. I'm unmotivated. I'm 46. I'm just so...
46?
He's pretty old. I don't know. That sounds right. He's like, it's not important. I'm just saying he looks like he should be on one of those commercials.
I didn't know they made commercials for getting more testosterone.
I'm the only one, apparently, that have ever seen that.
You are the only one that's ever seen that.
Anyways. Dolph Ziggler, with his lengthening hair, takes on Bray Wyatt, and Bray Wyatt's second match.
Lengthening hair, by the way.
His second match. Now, I'm not too sure how the Kane match came off. Apparently, I don't think it came off very well, because they don't really talk about it that much, about the actual match, or show clips of it. They do occasionally mention that Kane has disappeared, and we really don't know where he is, but who cares? Let's move on to the next segment. Raw is rolling on, you know what I mean?
Maybe he's just taking a break for a little while.
I mean, storyline-wise.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know why he's taking off anyways. Maybe he's injured or something, I don't know. Bray Wyatt wins, and that was fine. Poor Dolph Ziggler, he's kind of slipped a little bit there, but that's not really his fault. I mean, he was like right after WrestleMania. He was like the biggest guy ever, but kapow, right in your face. But they have a long back and forth match. It wasn't no squash, so I can at least say that. Now, Heyman and Axel, they're in the ring, and Heyman has his own doctor. Dr. Cruz Inbound, I think. And he mentions he's from New York. And since they're in front of the Canadian audience, Paul Heyman was thinking, by mentioning that his doctor is from New York, that everybody would be like, boo!
Yeah, but nobody cared.
No, but nobody really cared. And that he thinks he has a torn ACL, or he doesn't know. So, obviously the guy's a great doctor. But he is going to find out for sure once he goes back to the United States. Silence. And I was like, wow, but these Canadians really don't hate America anymore. Like, the Canadian-American war is over.
I mean, that was only Bret Hart, right?
Basically. But nobody cares.
I mean, really, no Canadians and Americans don't usually harbor animosity towards each other that I know of.
Well, yeah. Not at all anymore, apparently. We all get along. Because
we're one big happy family over here
Canada's
in North America.
Canada's like America's hat. I saw that on iPhone, I'm sorry. I did not mean to offend our Canadian brethren up there in the up north part of, Okay, so I don't know my...
That was beautiful.
Geography or geology or whatever. So, as we move on, they have Dr. Sampson come out. Man, they just love WWE doctors around here. We go against the doctors, we don't like the doctors, Dr. Sampson's the best doctor in the universe. Well, he comes out and he checks out Paul Heyman, and probably like the most boring segment I've ever saw, like this portion of it, checking out a guy, let's see if your ACL, your TCL, your DDL, it all seems to be in place. Like, it was very yawn-inducing and just like, why are they doing this? But, I mean, I saw the point, but it was just like let's move on now. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Maybe I thought that the timing was worse than it was. But anyways, Samson says, you are fine, and you can compete, and he's all upset. Punk comes down there with a stick, and he wants to beat Paul Heyman with a stick.
Was it a pointy stick?
Somewhat pointy. It was a kendo stick. Or, wait, did I say that right? Kendo stick, yes. So, yes.
I didn't know it was hard to say.
No, I was thinking somebody had corrected me on the spelling of the kendo stick. It was not how I pronounced it, but it just came to me late. But anyways, Heyman sees this stick in Punk's hand, and he says, it is time to hightail it out of here, get a case of the limber tail, here I go, and I run, and we're all like, oh, he was lying about his thing, and Dr. Sampson was right. He is actually hurt, and actually not hurt, because he's running away at a high speed through the crowd and everything. So,
how fast did he run? Because I didn't see this part.
No, he ran pretty fast for a seal.
Paul Heyman?
Or whatever he is. He's not a seal.
Walrus?
Walrus. Yeah, walruses don't really run, do they?
They don't have legs.
This is true. But they do move on the ground.
Yeah, they kind of
waddle. So they have a Divas match. They included the Divas from Total Divas, and AJ was on commentary.
Yep. They did a good job on commentary.
Yeah, I did the dishes during this segment.
Did you really?
Yes.
It's a sad day.
Because, no, I just couldn't do it. I had to have some kind of break. Alright, so RVD has a little backstage before the show video, whatever those are called. And he talks about Night of Champions, whatever. It's not going to be ADR, it's going to be RVD.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So, we've got R-Truth versus Del Rio. Del Rio is the World Heavyweight Champion. Who do you think is going to win this match?
Probably Del Rio.
You are correct. Del Rio does, in fact, win this match, and R-Truth continues to sing and dance on into the future, I guess. Antonio Cesaro versus a returning Santino Marella. What a surprise this was.
Yeah, I was happy to see Santino again.
Not a surprise that Santino's back, because I could care less, but a surprise that...
You don't like Santino?
Not really. And not a surprise that Antonio could have a good match, but surprised that just the whole thing turned out the way it did. Man, there was a giant swing in here. That was a giant swing from... like the best ever, man. He spun him around for like 5 minutes.
It was a long time.
That is like a raw moment there.
It was plenty to make both of them quite dizzy.
But apparently Antonio Cesaro was not dizzy at all.
Nah, he was dizzy because he like walked over to the corner and he like put his hand on the rope.
I don't know.
He was like playing it off, but that dude was dizzy.
I don't think he was dizzy. I think he
was dizzy.
I don't think he was. Antonio Cesaro is awesome, and he's a physical specimen.
Is awesome.
Very strong. And
that has nothing to do with dizziness. Dizziness is controlled by your inner ear and the fluids in your inner ear.
Look, those were commas, attributes of things that is cool about him, not a continuation of his ability to not be dizzy.
Well, my bad.
Your whatever is dizzying me. Whatever. So, I had a good thing to say. My comeback fell apart faster than Santino Marella's return. So, Damian Sandow... I don't know, probably hurt.
Go ahead.
Sandow versus The Miz. Sandow.
Okay. I got a question about this.
Okay.
What is going on with The Miz's hair? He's like growing out a chili bowl haircut.
It looks like Jonathan Taylor Thomas.
It is starting to look a little like Jonathan Taylor Thomas.
It sure does, and I thought that the Money in the Bank holder, Damian Sandow, had no choice but to lose this match. With his little chocolate briefcase and everything. But no siree. Because here comes Fandango. And Fandango starts dancing, and holy crap.
Fandango.
Like, holy distraction, Batman. The Miz is, like, all distracted. I mean, Sandow is distracted to the point where he gets, like, rolled up or whatever. And yes, The Miz gets distracted. Did I say that right? It doesn't matter.
You were all confused.
Sandow gets a pin. Sandow wins a match. But only because The Miz was distracted. See, if he hadn't been distracted, probably The Miz would have won. But no, Sandow won. So I guess good for him. I'm not really sure if I should congratulate him on that one. And now we have a Goldust interview. And he says, "You will never forget the name of..." And then Triple H comes in and calls him by his first name.
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh my gosh. Chills up and down my spine.
That really bothers you, doesn't it?
I just think it's stupid because it's like, how can I be more real? Insert realism here. I'll call him by his real name. Oh, Mike Mizanin. Oh, it's just stupid, man. Like, trying to impress us with your breaking stuff is just dumb. But I like Triple H as a heel. I will say that. I mean, he's awesome. Greatness. Because it's a face, I didn't believe it. I believe him as a heel. But calling guys by their first name, like, I have to do this, like, every single time, it's just head-smacking inducing. And anyways, Triple H, he does that, and now they're going to have the match. Goldust versus Orton, which the fans loved. Goldust, they were just behind him. They were going crazy.
For his age.
Skinny.
Not like handsome. At all.
You know, he talked about in his interview how he had problems. He was the bad roads or whatever, and he had alcohol problems or whatever.
Right.
I have the book And it's a good book. You should check it out. It's way up there, the Goldust book. Somewhere.
Oh, yeah, there it is. Okay.
But, anyways, they have the match. Good match. Long match. Tried it as a Shattered Dreams, but no. Orton wins, and he says his,
this
basically,
was a sad day.
I want to give Orton his props, because this was his line of the night. I guess that's not saying much, but he says, your dreams were shattered. And I was like, that was good. Good job, dude. You were cool. So, backstage we have the Hall Monitor. Stephanie McMahon's.
Hall Monitor!
Stephanie McMahon's.
Alright, okay. Stephanie's character's, like, bothering me lately. Because it's too, like, flip-floppy for me. Because, like...
It's been pretty consistent.
She was crying, like, 2 weeks ago. About her daddy and her hubby.
No, that was more than 2 weeks ago, but okay.
I'm just saying, like, in the intermittence of, like, me seeing her, it seems like she goes from, like, super sappy, crying housewife to, like, I'm a career woman that's, like, a total jerk, and it's just...
Strong.
Inconsistent to me.
That is
one
true.
Personality.
Yeah, because we were complaining about how weak she was.
Yes.
But that was like a month or so ago.
Still,
we were talking about how weak she was.
In recent
and
history.
people told us we were wrong about thinking that because she's always been whiny. She's always been weak.
Though.
But now all of a sudden she's strong. And she's always been strong. Remember on SmackDown in 2002?
See, it's just different. Like, she's bipolar. But anyway, she was being a real jerk to Goldust back here, saying, oh, you let your brother down. How do you feel? Guess his new wife's going to be sad because she doesn't have her man to provide for her. Maybe she has a job. I mean, I guess not. But just saying...
But
does not mean the family is destitute just because the guy lost his job.
Boy, if you don't work for WWE, you are done. But Goldust looked very sad. He actually looked more believably sad. I don't think he'll win an Emmy for it.
He looked pretty believably sad because he had his eye makeup all smushed, so it almost
Face
looked
paint.
like
War paint.
It looked like he was wearing mascara and it was running because it was all smushed.
Okay, so Rob Van Dam versus Ryback in the rights for the spray-painted singlets. But RVD wins, and sadly, Ryback does not get to keep his spray-painted tights. Del Rio talks about something, who cares? But RVD wins because of a disqualification, because he gets low-blowed by the pole, and when you look at that video, it looks like he's loving that pole ever so gently.
It looked like that while it was happening.
Backstage, the Hall Monitor, Stephanie McMahon, and the Big Show. She tells the Big Shows that no fingers shall be put on something. I don't know what she was talking about there.
I believe it was Randy Orton, probably.
And then she said no touching the Shield. So no touch. The Hall Monitor has spoken. The Shield versus, or maybe it was Dean Ambrose versus Bryan.
It was Dean Ambrose versus Bryan.
Okay. Crowd going crazy because they love Bryan. And I thought for 6 straight episodes or whatever it's been that Bryan would be laid out.
No.
See,
he emerged victorious.
And that's what I've been saying. Like, I'm fine with him in this storyline as long as he looks strong once in a while. But,
they brought it back.
I thought that they was going to go straight into the pay-per-view, which is beat down, beat down, beat down, and I'd have to give up faith on him. But
he had one little good thing.
Apparently, I shouldn't have been so concerned because Daniel Bryan.
We thought he was going to get beat down.
He wins.
Yeah, because after it, I thought I was like, all right, here's the post-match beat down. But then, like, they were like, Big Show, you gotta go and punch him in the face. And then Big Show was like, nah, and he was stalling. And then there was a confrontation. And then there was this big moment. And then Randy Orton was trying to make him do that. And then Daniel Bryan came and kicked him in the face.
Now look, Bryan won. They were yesing. They were everything.
I just recounted this.
I know, but you didn't do it the way I wanted to do it.
Okay, well, go ahead.
You ruined it. See, Randy Orton cashes in his excitement killer clause and comes down to the ring. And he's like, they're going to do this thing. He does the RKO, and then, yeah. But there was some hope at the end of the day because he was doing the yes thing.
Daniel Bryan emerged, or kicked him, kneed him in the face. And emerged.
Yeah. So, Raw was pretty dang entertaining.
I thought it was probably the best one I've seen in several months.
Several months? Well, I mean, overall.
Yeah, wouldn't you say so?
Yeah, because there was a lot of things that, bringing in things that we've missed, like Edge, even just for one little segment. And Goldust, man, I love Goldust, and he had that match. I was all for that. I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do to make Randy Orton seem believable in some way or whatever, as what he's doing, big credible heel, whatever. You gotta have the support of Triple H and the support of everyone else in the universe, but hey, at the end of the day, they got it done, so whatever. It works. They made it work, so I say thumbs up to that. I say thumbs down to Stephanie being the hall monitor. That was very annoying, and Big Show broke a big CTR television, one of those big archaic.
Yeah,
he
totally
was so
did.
angry that they didn't have a flat screen. He was like, "Argh!" and destroyed it. So that was Raw. Gotta say, I was thoroughly entertained. Awesome stuff. But I will see you guys next time.